New York, 1922. The tempo of the city had changed sharply. The buildings were higher. The parties were bigger. The morals were looser and the liquor was cheaper. The restlessness approached hysteria.
Shall we?
Who is this Gatsby?
Do you know him?
War hero.
Mr. Gatsby doesn't exist.
Gatsby? What Gatsby?
Let me start with a trivia question. You and Baz Luhrmann have worked together once before on Romeo and Juliet. How many years ago did that movie come out?
Oh, sheesh. I remember when I first met him, I was 18. I think I was 21 when the movie came out. I'd say 17 years ago.
Right on the nose. What's it like when he says, I think you'd be right for this part? Is it because of your history, do you say, oh, I'm in? Or what's your process of deciding whether it is in fact a good fit?
I think I was very skeptical from the onset. This is one of the most celebrated novels of all time. It is a deeply American novel, and it's filled with so much nuance and complexity and symbolism. Not only that, people who've read the book have such an intimate understanding of these characters, and they have their own interpretation of who these people are. So whenever you make a film version of something this complex, you have to be more specific. So you're inevitably going to disappoint a tremendous amount of people. But, you know, Baz reassured me that as much as he wanted to re-envision The Great Gatsby, he wanted to stay as true to Fitzgerald's words as he possibly could.
In the movie, your character idolizes Leo's character, Jay Gatsby. In real life, he's your everyday friend. Did that change in dynamic ever strike you as funny?
We definitely had moments. I think there was some moment where Leo, you know, I see sort of a flash of his anger, and it's towards me, Nick, you know, Gatsby towards Nick. And I don't even think that moment is in the film, but that sort of cracked me up a little bit. And not because I didn't believe him, because I did, but it just was uncomfortable or felt kind of funny to me or seemed funny because, I don't know, it was such an odd dynamic for him and I.
Gatsby. He had a grand vision for his life since he was a boy.
I'm gonna fix things just the way they were before.
Just you and me. No amount of fire could challenge the fairy tale he had stored up in his heart.
Baz has such a unique style. In some scenes it's very manic, other scenes it's very kind of subdued. How did it affect the way you acted the role, the fact that he has such a unique style?
Well, the most amazing thing about working with him on this was, you know, all of this, you know, the crazy production going on around us, the scale of it was huge. And for me, I've never been in a film with that kind of production. So I felt initially like, oh, this is going to be really overwhelming. It's so big. Every single day he'd come to the cast area where we used to sit, and he'd take me by the hand and he'd walk me into the room and place me in the scene. And it was so gentlemanly and so chivalrous and so kind of perfect that he just set the tone. And then, you know, for the party scenes, he would get a megaphone and microphone and have 400 people going completely crazy in about 5 minutes.
So when you heard that a fellow Aussie, Baz Luhrmann, was directing The Great Gatsby, were you guys like, yes, we're in?
Yeah, as long as he does an Australian version of it, I said, and he lied.
Do you think Aussie actors had a leg up against the competition in getting roles, or did you have to fight even harder to get cast?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I know Baz may have needed to cast some Australians in order to shoot in Australia. Isn't that the case? I don't know.
Yeah, he must have.
But I don't think so. I think he was. I think all the roles were open, and you know, I mean, Joel. Who else could play next to Leo and play his rival and be his equal and be, you know, passionate and, you know, be on the same platform as him? I mean, no one else.
That's so nice.
It's nice of you to say that. There's a long list and they're all unavailable.
The centerpiece scene that takes place amongst the 5 main characters in the Plaza Hotel is really impressive, and it's when your character really gets very angry, to the point where I was watching it on the screen last night and the flesh on your face is throbbing in anger. What was it like for you when you saw that for the first time? Did you scare yourself?
Well, that you know, we really set that up like a stage production, and you know, not only Baz's use of 3D in this film is a very interesting one, because we came into this whole endeavor as if we were doing theater, and the immersive quality of 3D makes you feel the tension from each, you know, just the sheer proximity from one character to another. There's a great amount of tension in these sequences, but we spent a week on that one plaza scene, and we talked about it endlessly. And it was the one moment where, you know, Gatsby's cloak is sort of taken off for the first time, and Nick says, and in that moment he really looked like he had killed a man. And, you know, that can be interpreted any way you want, and that's sort of the dramatic decision that we took, and that's what we went for, and hopefully it paid off.
My life has got to be like this. It's got to keep going on.